Reborn to the Lin family of the Immortal Cultivation Family, the system prompts that it is in hand various opportunities come one after another, and all kinds of disasters and dangers are not involved leap step by step to the immortal gate with the family. Mortal flow, family flow, beast control, keywords of the novel. Family cultivation. I can see the prompt without pop-ups, family cultivation. I can see the prompt. Download the complete set of TXT, family cultivation. I can see the prompt. Read the latest chapter. Chapter 1. Lin Shiming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Lin Shiming Zhao State, Yunzhou, Xinxian. Xinxian County has a vast territory and sparse population, with many mountains, rivers, and hills. Among the mountains and rivers, Fangmu Mountain is the highest, shrouded in clouds and mist all year round, only its height is known, and its peak is not seen. At this moment, inside a small building within the peak, a young man in a white robe stared closely at a glowing spiritual formation. At the center of the formation is a large insect egg with a bowl mouth. It is obvious that the egg has reached the moment of hatching, and the surface is already covered with cracks. With a flash of spiritual light and a click, 2 golden feet, resembling sickles, broke through their shells. Then a pale golden mantis head appeared. Finally hatched. Lin Shiming was overjoyed. What others cannot see is that there is still a line of words in Lin Shiming's eyes. The golden finger welfare exclusively belongs to him as a traveler, a reminder he sees every day. Please feed it with first-level spiritual water, and you will obtain a spirit beast that can grow into third level, a variant of the blue-winged praying mantis, the golden-winged praying mantis. Lin Shiming is a time traveler. In his past life, he was an unlucky IT otaku, but now he is the son of Lin Huiyuan, the head of the forest family in Fangmu Mountain, and also ranks 7th in his generation. Lin Shiming is very satisfied with this journey. Not only his background and status, but also his ability to see system prompts, he thinks there is hope for cultivating immortality. And it was precisely because of the prompt that Lin Shiming spent 10 spiritual stones on this half-dead insect egg at a street stall in the neighborhood. You should know that as one of the foundation-building families in Yunzhou, the Lin family of Fangmu Mountain currently only has one foundation-building master. And a worm egg that can cultivate a third-order foundation-building demon insect, even if placed at the Yunzhou auction, will sell for an unimaginable sky-high price for the entire Lin family. A normal blue-winged praying mantis, except for its wings with a thin layer of pale gold, is all green. And the mutated golden-winged mantis in front of me not only has its wings completely covered in gold, but its entire body is also full of gold. Especially the pair of front legs, shining like gold to the extreme, with extremely large sickle teeth, they look particularly sharp. The body size is also about twice that of a normal blue-winged praying mantis, and it is about the size of a baby when it hatches. Squeak. The golden-winged mantis stirred its wings and flew onto Lin Shiming's shoulder, constantly rubbing against him with its pale golden triangular head. Before the hatching of the insect eggs, Lin Shiming used his own essence and blood to create the secret technique of the blood covenant formation, and also used spiritual energy to cultivate spiritual insects. The golden-winged praying mantis also naturally regarded Lin Shiming as their parents. Lin Shiming suppressed his joy and took out a jade bowl from his storage bag. Then, he carefully took out a jade bottle and poured a bowl full of first-order spiritual water into the bowl, feeling sorry. This level of spiritual water is produced by the Qinglian Lingquan on the back of Fangmu Mountain. As the son of the head of the family, Lin Shiming can only receive 1 pound of spiritual water for 6 months. And just 1 kilogram of spiritual water can sell for more than 10 spiritual stones. With just 1 bowl of it, it can be worth half a month of hard cultivation for a cultivator. At this moment, all the spirit stones around the Xinling formation were dimmed, exhausting their power. Grow up quickly. Lin Shiming couldn't help but rub the head of the golden-winged mantis, his eyes filled with anticipation. Squeak. In the blink of an eye, the jade bowl had already bottomed out, and the golden-winged praying mantis looked at Lin Shiming with a pursed mouth. Obviously, a bowl of spiritual water is not enough. Lin Shiming once again painfully took out the jade bottle from the storage bag and filled the jade bowl. After consuming about 1 pound 3 times in a row, the golden-winged mantis finally contented and lay on Lin Shiming's shoulder, closing its eyes and resting quietly. Lin Shiming took out the spirit beast bag and included the praying mantis in it. After being excited, he couldn't help but start thinking about his future path of cultivation. The golden-winged praying mantis is so edible that it requires even higher cultivation resources, which makes him quite distressed. His own spiritual roots are the 3 spiritual roots of gold, wood, and fire. In terms of cultivation qualifications, he is not considered good and requires a great deal of resources. The Lin family is just a foundation-building family. With his cultivation level of practicing qi for 5 layers, he can only receive 2 spirit stones per month. Including the half-yearly spiritual water and 3 kilograms of spiritual rice per month, he only receives about 40 spirit stones for 6 months. The reason why Lin Shiming was able to live such a comfortable life before was because he could see the prompts and plant spiritual plants with ease. In addition, his father also occasionally rewards him. The system prompts cannot go against the sky. Most of the prompts he sees every day are about how to solve spiritual cultivation problems or cultivate techniques. A small portion of the prompts seen are that the 3rd-level spiritual plants in the mountain medicine garden are mature, and picking them can obtain 1/3 level spiritual mushroom plant. Alternatively, there may be a 3rd-level treasure on the mountain that can be obtained by breaking through the formation at night. Lin Shiming was not only speechless but also helpless about this kind of prompt. The best tip is to follow the family elders to the local market to deliver spiritual materials and buy the eggs of the golden-winged praying mantis. As for other times, Fangmu Mountain prohibits children of the Lin family under 20 from going down the mountain, so there is no warning at the foot of the mountain. After collecting the insect eggs, Lin Shiming began to cultivate again in the room. The key to cultivating immortality lies in perseverance, and his talent does not allow him to be any less lazy. Lin Shiming cultivates the yellow-grade upper-level technique passed down by the Lin family. The green wood technique with a wood attribute can be practiced up to the foundation building period. Aoki Ju's cultivation is not fast and does not bring much benefit to combat techniques, but his victory lies in his stable cultivation, steady hitting and penetration, and often achieving remarkable results in breaking through great realms. After each small and large Zhou Tian cycle, Lin Shiming feels refreshed and energized, as if all his magical powers are jumping with joy. And at that moment, a red light suddenly flashed through the sky, and a musical note broke through the air. Shiming, hurry to the council hall. The conference hall is located on the mountainside of Fangmu Mountain, facing north and south, with an excellent view. As a place for the Lin family to discuss, assign tasks, and entertain foreign guests, the entire hall is made of marble. At the beginning of the construction, many skilled craftsmen were hired to make the hall appear more grand and imposing. Entering the main hall, 2 middle-aged men were discussing, with a hint of solemnity between their eyebrows. Among them, the younger one is Lin Hoyuan, the father of Lin Shiming, while the other burly and robust one is Lin Shiming's great-grandfather, who is also the elder of the Lin family and a strong physical practitioner, Lin Yuqing. That's right, although they look similar to Lin Hoyuan in appearance, they both look middle-aged, but Lin Yuqing is already 90 years old. For cultivators during the qi refining period, they generally have a lifespan of around 120 and can maintain their youthful appearance by consuming a little spiritual power. If you like it, you can even maintain a childlike appearance. Of course, the elders of the Lin family are mostly middle-aged, which can not only maintain their dignity but also make their bodies appear less old. I've met my father, Grandpa. Lin Shiming quickly approached and saluted, both of whom he admired greatly. Shiming has arrived, not bad. He has practiced qi at the 5th level. He is only 17 years old this year. Lin Yuqing clearly did not expect that Lin Shiming's 3 spiritual roots qualifications would only take 9 years to reach the 5th level of qi cultivation. The average 2nd spiritual root genius would only be at this speed. In addition to the surprise, there was also a hint of hesitation on the face. Grandpa laughed, "My nephew's cultivation is solely supported by his family. Not bad, not bad. Humble and polite, diligent in cultivation. Master, you have given birth to a good son." Lin Yuqing's uncontrollable admiration made Lin Hoyuan also unable to stop feeling delighted. "Master, since Shiming's cultivation speed is comparable to Shiji's, then the matter of guarding Qingtao Mountain," Lin Yuqing said again. Lin Hoyuan hesitated at this moment. Qingtao Mountain was backed by the Qingyun Mountains, and there were many fierce wild beasts, even some of which roamed freely within the Qingyun Mountains. Especially now, the 2nd-level inferior spiritual peach tree on Qingtao Mountain is about to mature, which is highly likely to attract birds and monsters. Lin Hoyuan originally did not want his son to go down the mountain early to guard such a dangerous place, but Lin Shiming had previously suggested to him several times to go down the mountain early and participate in the garrison mission. And the latter's belief in contributing to the family moved him, and the family did indeed lack sufficient manpower. But now it seems that his son is talented enough to make the greatest contribution to the family by striving to cultivate without being delayed by worldly affairs. "Father, Grandpa, Shiming is willing to go garrison." Lin Shiming was immediately excited when he heard about the task of guarding Qingtao Mountain. What he wants is this: sitting on the golden finger of the prompt system, only searching for resources that are obviously unavailable on Fangmu Mountain, which has long made him dissatisfied. He has seen all the treasures that the old clan leader has in the prompts, but that's useless. He can't steal them. Now that he has the opportunity to go outside, he certainly wants to fight for it. Although Qingtao Mountain may be in danger, there are reminders that he can also anticipate the danger in advance. "Father, my recent cultivation has also reached a bottleneck and I need to go outside to experience," Lin Shiming added urgently as he saw the 2 elders still hesitating. "All right, before going to Qingtao Mountain, go to the clan treasury to collect a 2nd-level top-grade attack talisman and a top-grade defense talisman. This is the contribution value that the family has given you in advance." Lin Ho saw Lin Shiming's insistence and didn't say much, but as the head of the family, it is still possible to seek some benefits for his son who completed the garrison task ahead of time. Also, take an extra 10 pounds of spiritual water and 50 pounds of spiritual rice. Count it on my head. Lin Yuqing also added, becoming more and more satisfied with Lin Shiming. If everyone in the family thinks like Shiming, why worry about the Lin family not being happy? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Xinling Peach Tree. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Xinling Peach Tree. Qingtao Mountain is located to the north of Fangmu Mountain. Although the mountain is not high, it is full of green peach trees. In spring, when the spring breeze blows, peach blossoms dance all over the mountain, like a fairyland of peach blossoms, extremely beautiful. On the mountaintop, there is a century-old green peach spirit tree, which is why Qingtao Mountain is named. The green peach spirit tree blooms once a year, bears fruit every 3 years, and bears 10 to hundreds at a time. These spirit peaches are similar to spirit water and have an excellent effect on cultivation. 1 spirit peach is worth 5 or 6 spirit stones. If you combine 200, you can earn a profit of 1,000 spirit stones at a time. For the entire Lin family, it is a considerable income. It should be noted that the Lin family only earns a salary of 20 spiritual stones per year for mid-stage cultivators of qi cultivation. In the early stage, cultivators only have 5 spiritual stones per year, and in the later stage, cultivators only have 50 spiritual stones per year. It has been over 2 years since the last time the spirit peach matured, and this time the spirit peach will definitely bear fruit. Of course, as the garrison mission of Qingtao Mountain, there is also a responsibility to provide protection for Qingtao town below Qingtao mountain. Once there are monster beasts that commit violence and rebellion, they must be slain and eliminated. When he arrived at Qingtao mountain, it was already the third day that Lin Shiming had seen Lin Hoyuan. After leaving the main hall of the council, he went to the family contribution hall to collect 2 spiritual talismans, 10 pounds of spiritual water, and 50 pounds of spiritual rice. In addition, for the next 3 years, all the salaries of the spirit stones have been changed to spirit water, with a total of 72 spirit stones. The internal price has also been used to exchange for 7 kilograms of spirit water. These are the oral food of the golden-winged praying mantis, and they can occasionally be used as spiritual materials for their own cultivation. The 2 spiritual talismans are Water Shield Technique and Golden Sword Technique, both of which are second-level top-grade spiritual talismans. They are cleverly used and even have miraculous effects on late-stage cultivators who practice qi. In addition to the spirit talisman, Lin Hoyuan also gave him a second-level medium-grade green spirit sword. Combined with his previous savings and 6 or 7 intermediate spiritual talismans, this profession can be said to be flawless. Qingtao Mountain is in early spring, and pink flower buds are sprouting from the green buds, some of which are even eager to bloom, filling the air with the fragrance of flowers. The peach blossoms of each mountain encroached upon Lin Shiming's eyes. If it weren't for the limitations of talent, I might have sung a song in this situation. Lin Shiming first wielded his sword to the hall of Qingtao town at the foot of the mountain, and informed the mayor of Qingtao town of his arrival, a congenital warrior named Lin Yang. According to convention, give the latter a messenger talisman, which is the simplest talisman that only needs to be ignited to transmit information. After understanding the information about the town, Lin Shiming once again wielded his sword and flew straight to the top of Qingtao mountain. The top of the peach blossom mountain is surprisingly flat, with peach trees densely packed and each peach blossom turning pink. Of course, if you feel that this pink beauty is just a beauty, then you have to do a big somersault. There is a 3-xian peach blossom formation at the top of Qingtao mountain, and it is also a second-level intermediate formation personally arranged by the 4th elder of the Lin family, Lin Yushui. These 3 mysterious peach blossom formation is built on the basis of the spirit peach tree. In times of crisis, it can extract the spirit peach spirit power. It is a great killing formation that combines illusion and attack. Lin Shiming took out a messenger and sent it into the formation. Not long after, the peach blossoms no longer fall, as if the picture is still. Then, peach trees began to combine in a guarded posture, as if forming rows of private soldiers. And on the spot, create a passage that can accommodate 10 people in parallel. Shiming, aren't you still under 20? Why did the family send you here? A cheerful voice came, and a middle-aged man in a Taoist robe strode out. Uncle 13, Shiming is not a child anymore. It's time to contribute to the family, Lin Shiming replied with a smile. The man in front of me is Lin Shiming's 13th uncle, Lin Howei, who has a cultivation level of 7 levels of qi and is a member of the family's demon hunting team. The previous members of Qingtao Mountain died, and it was because Ling Tao was about to mature that Lin Howei had to come and guard for a period of time. But the later cultivators of the family cannot be wasted here alone. Besides, Lin Howei is still a late-stage cultivator with extremely strong fighting skills and energy training abilities. Lin Shiming has been learning martial arts experience from this 13 uncle since he was young. That's right, your kid has been extremely intelligent since he was young, and he can practice various basic spells even better than some old guys. Lin Shiming, who was occasionally guided by the system prompts, did indeed demonstrate a considerable talent in spells. Alright, Shiming, since you're here, I have to leave too. The demon hunting team is very busy now. Are you sure Uncle 13 won't stay to communicate? I brought a pot of green peach spirit wine with me. Lin Shiming knew that Uncle 13 was a heavy drinker, so he came out of the family and specially brought a pot of green peach spirit wine. This spirit wine is brewed from the Lin family's spirit water and green peaches, and is the signature spirit wine of the Lin family restaurant. A small pot requires 20 spirit stones. I'll take the wine, but if I keep it, I won't. Lin Ho took the wine jug and opened the lid, taking a deep breath. While drinking and muttering, Shiming still understands him. Taking a deep breath, a blush of enjoyment instantly appeared on his face. Close your eyes, shake your head, quite intoxicated. You guys need to work even harder. 3 years later, when Qin Xuanzong sells the building foundation pill, even if it's 100,000 spirit stones this time, our Lin family will have to take a building foundation pill. And your father and fifth brother are both candidates for building foundations, and they will discuss the contributions of the family. After Lin finished speaking, she handed Lin Shiming the formation flag and jade slips that controlled the formation, and immediately flew towards the sky without looking back. In no time, it had already lost its trace. Leaving Lin Shiming in place to ponder these words, he actually knew that the current calm and tranquility of the Lin family was hidden behind endless turbulence. Lin Xianji, the old head of the family and also the elder of the Supreme Court, was seriously injured, although only 150 years old, far from reaching the maximum lifespan of 250. But in recent years, there have been many rumors circulating outside that he has not recovered from his serious injuries. The Lin family needs new foundation building cultivators. At this moment, Lin Shiming thought a lot, including his father and his fifth uncle. Finally, realizing that he was only a fifth-level cultivator of qi, he self-mocked himself and gave up. Then he began to scrutinize the formation flag and jade slips in his hand, injecting spiritual energy into the jade slips, and instantly mastering the knowledge inside. This is also a magical recording tool for cultivators. The technique of controlling the formation flag is not complicated. Lin Shiming had already mastered it proficiently in half an hour and left his divine sense within the formation flag. Even if the late-stage cultivators of qi cultivation arrive now, Lin Shiming relies on the formation in many trumps to have confidence in a battle. Please inspect all the green peach trees, you will receive a new second-level spiritual peach tree that is about to bear fruit. At this moment, the system prompt arrived, instantly boosting Lin Shiming's spirit. New spirit peach tree. It's still the result. This system prompt gave Lin Shiming a big surprise on the first day. A peach tree that bears fruit once, even if it only bears 20 peaches, is 100 spirit stones, but except for wilderness areas lacking spiritual energy, peach trees can bear at least 50. Even if handed over to the family, they will give Lin Shiming a reward of 30%, which is also a considerable gain. For Lin Shiming, who now needs to raise himself and the golden-winged mantis, it is undoubtedly great news. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Slaying the Demon Monkey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Slaying the Demon Monkey without hesitation, Lin Shiming opened the entire 3 mysterious peach blossoms formation, covering the entire mountaintop with peach blossoms once again. Meanwhile, he wielded his flying sword and released his divine consciousness towards the entire peach blossom mountain, searching for the spirit peach tree. Compared to the green peach tree, the spiritual peach tree is larger in size and full of spiritual energy. For ordinary people, it may be difficult to judge, but for cultivators, under the induction of spiritual power, the mortal tree and the spiritual tree can be recognized at a glance. After flying around, Lin Shiming's face was noticeably ugly. Although there were many peach trees in the entire Qingtao mountain, they were not big. Despite flying around, he did not find the spiritual peach tree. However, he immediately felt relieved that if this spiritual peach tree were on the mountain, his experienced 13 uncles in the wild could not have discovered it. Which round got him? Lin Shiming was not discouraged either. The system prompted to patrol all the green peach trees, and Lin Shiming became patient and continued to search around the Qingtao mountain. Until the sun set, Lin Shiming still couldn't find the spiritual peach tree. In his eyes, the peach blossoms on the mountain were no longer as beautiful as before, but instead made him feel a little restless. Suddenly, Lin Shiming took out a spiritual talisman from his storage bag and saw the talisman burning into ash in a beam of light in the air, flying towards Qingtao town. What happened on the first day? Lin Shiming was also quite speechless, unable to find any news of Lingtao. Instead, Qingtao town had problems first. Although Lin Shiming was unhappy in his heart, he also knew that every talent is the foundation of his family. Although Qingtao town only has about 10,000 people, there are basically a few cultivators with spiritual roots every 5 years. The imperial sword followed the firelight of the talisman paper and disappeared into the sky in the blink of an eye. Upon arriving in Qingtao town, the old man named Lin Yang, accompanied by a group of men and women dressed in coarse linen, knelt down directly towards Lin Shiming. Master Immortal, there is a demon monkey, a big demon monkey 2 or 3 meters high. It has infinite strength and is incredibly fierce. I earnestly request Master Xian to take action and save all the people in the town. The young people in Qingtao town are willing to work hard for Master Xian. Where is the demon monkey and what is the loss? Lin Shiming looked cold. Master Immortal, that demon monkey is on the old peach tree of the Dainyu family, 3 miles north of town. Daniel woke up in the morning and was thrown to the ground by the demon monkey as soon as he opened the door. He vomited a lot of blood and is still unconscious. Fortunately, Ernyo was clever and took advantage of the demon monkey's rest to run out with Daniel and his family in time. Otherwise, the outcome would be unbelievable. Oh, you sat on the peach tree. Lin Shiming couldn't help but brighten his eyes, feeling that it was effortless. Monsters and monkeys occupy the peach tree to drive people away, which is clearly the spiritual peach tree that Lin Shiming has been pursuing so hard. Yes. It's the unlucky peach tree of Daniel. It's been 2 years, an iron tree that only blooms but does not bear fruit. Lin Yang added. I've already had the bull chop it, he wouldn't listen. There were also kind-hearted people nearby who patiently added. After listening to this, Lin Shiming clearly realized that it blooms every year and bears fruit every 3 years. He fully confirmed the authenticity of the spirit peach in his heart and had a rough understanding of the strength of the demon monkey. However, I couldn't help but take another look at the so-called kind-hearted person. Fortunately, he wasn't in front of his house, and then spoke calmly. Alright, I understand now. You lead the way and I'll take care of that demon monkey now. Can I lead the way? Wang Matzi, why are you hesitating? If the Immortal Master asks you to lead the way, then lead the way. The Immortal Master has exquisite immortal techniques and extraordinary powers. How could he not deal with a little demon monkey? Lin Yang couldn't help but curse beside him. Yes, Master Immortal. Lin Shiming didn't care either. He took out his flying sword and cast a spell, which turned into a 3-meter-long giant sword. The cold light is piercing, and the sword's rays are faintly visible. In an instant, the mortals seemed to see the gods, their admiration breaking through the sky. Come up. Lin Shiming gestured to Wang Matzi to lead the way with his sword. Wang Matzi climbed up the flying sword in a rolling manner, and Lin Shiming flew up with his sword. Wang Matzi was like a dead dog, tightly lying on the sword, holding it tightly. After leaving Lin Shiming speechless and reminding him that he had spiritual protection and could stand up generously, Wang Matzi finally stood up with a flattering smile on his face. For Lin Shiming, the 3-mile road is only a matter of 1 or 2 minutes. Soon, several simple houses and a low hill came into view. In front of the house, a huge peach tree was fluttering in the wind, with pink peach blossoms lingering but not a single one blooming and falling. Lin Shiming recognized at a glance that this was a spirit peach tree ready to bear fruit. Master Immortal, ahead is the Dainyu family, and the demon monkey is also on the peach tree, Wang Matzi added in a low voice beside him. Lin Shiming took a closer look and as expected, there was a huge fork on the peach tree where a 2 to 3 meter tall yellow-haired monkey named Guyu lay. Holding an unknown fruit in hand, extremely comfortable. However, upon seeing Lin Shiming wielding his sword, the demon monkey jumped up in an instant, holding onto the tree trunk with its long arms and hair erect. It bared its teeth and roared wildly at Lin Shiming. What a second-level intermediate yellow-haired demon monkey that you can enjoy. Lin Shiming confirmed that the spirit beast was not a second-level superior demon beast and waved to let Wang Matzi leave. The second-level intermediate level of demon beasts is equivalent to the middle stage of qi cultivation. He has magical tools and talismans in his hands, so he is naturally not afraid. Take out a few intermediate spiritual talismans from your pocket, place them in your palm, and be ready to summon them at any time. At the same time, the other hand quickly made a decision, and the second-order flying sword flew up in an instant, cutting towards the yellow-haired demon monkey. The monster monkey's big mouth was even more ferocious and terrifying. It screamed and jumped up high, avoiding the flying sword and fiercely catching Lin Shiming. A distance of several tens of meters suddenly arrived. Good day. Lin Shiming was worried and afraid of hurting the peach tree, and his flying sword swung directly towards him. But unfortunately, the demon monkey was too agile. It made a sudden leap and dodged again, grabbing towards Lin Shiming. A golden shield magic talisman exploded, blocking the claw strike. Lin Shiming was shocked and quickly retreated several tens of meters to widen the distance. At the same time, he threw a handful of seeds in his hand and turned it into a pinching technique, and spiritual power emerged. Wooden Vine Technique. Wood Vine Technique is Lin Shiming's most skilled low-level spell, which can be almost instantly cast, and has an increase in Aokiju. After practicing with 17 Uncle Lin, the latter became quite troublesome. As Lin Shiming drank lightly, countless seeds sprouted and turned into huge wooden vines winding towards the demon monkey. The demon monkey wanted to hide again, but there were too many wooden vines that could not be held back, which hindered its speed. Can only be powerless and furious, with two long arms wildly swinging. Then Lin Shiming threw out the already prepared second-level intermediate fireball spirit talisman and smashed it at the demon monkey, causing it to explode with blood and roar uncontrollably. And this was not over yet. Lin Shiming's flying sword had already charged towards him, and he cut it directly with one sword. A monkey head flew high, and the demon monkey died. After a series of attacks, Lin Shiming's face slightly changed, and both the wood vine technique and the imperial sword consumed a considerable amount of spiritual energy, adding up to that. If it weren't for preparing some spiritual talismans, it would be quite dangerous. Lin Shiming took out a spirit stone and began to restore spiritual energy, while also releasing the golden-winged mantis. This spirit monkey only has a second level and no demon pill. Except for its claws and fur, which are somewhat valuable, the rest can be used as blood food for praying mantis. Monster blood not only stimulates the ferocity of praying mantis, but also accelerates their growth. Master Immortal, you are really amazing. At this moment, Wang Matzi also ran out with all his might. Prepare an undisturbed room for me, I want to meditate for a while. Lin Shiming used a storage bag to collect most of the demon monkey corpses, leaving only a large piece of monkey legs for the praying mantis to nibble on, and then gave a faint command. Okay, Master Immortal. Wang Matzi said and went to prepare. Lin Shiming first walked under the peach tree and confirmed that there was no problem with the Lingtao. However, what made Lin Shiming frown was that the spiritual energy here was clearly slightly insufficient. The spiritual peach tree supported by the same family was obviously lacking in nutrition, and I'm afraid the result was only around 20.30. To increase the number of results, it is definitely necessary to transplant to an area with strong spiritual energy. However, he did not prepare the materials in advance for arranging the gathering spirit formation, and as for transplanting it to Qingtao Mountain, Lin Shiming did not have the transplantation technique. Unable to help but make Lin Shiming distressed. After seeing the peach tree, Lin Shiming walked into Wang Matzi's wooden house with a worried face and began to meditate. The latter, upon seeing Lin Shiming's ugly face, immediately trembled and dared not breathe, constantly reflecting on whether he had done something wrong. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Two Spiritual Roots Genius. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Two Spiritual Roots Genius. After Lin Shiming stopped practicing, it was already midnight. I don't know if it was the effect of the battle or anything else, but Lin Shiming always felt that his cultivation speed had increased by a little bit. The sound of drizzling rain came from outside the house, which reminded Lin Shiming of a poetic line. The drizzle on the Tianjia street is as smooth as a pastry. However, the peach blossoms on Qingtao Mountain are probably going to drop quite a bit again. Lin Shiming opened the wooden window, and a drizzle drifted in along the small comb window, taking his thoughts to the distant spiritual peach tree. The peach blossoms did not fall, on the contrary, they were washed away by the light rain, becoming more fresh and beautiful, lacking a hint of subtlety, and adding a hint of charm. The whole night appeared even more ethereal and beautiful. In an instant, Lin Shiming felt as if his mood had been washed away by a drizzle and washed away by peach blossoms. Yes, it was only then that Lin Shiming remembered that he had been in this world for 17 years, and it was the first time he had such a mindset to see the scenery. To cultivate immortality and cultivate immortality, one must eventually relax with moderation, and only by relaxing one's movements can one be appropriate. Lin Shiming couldn't help but have some enlightenment. Dong dong. There was a knock outside the door. Master Immortal, followed by a childish voice. Lin Shiming unleashed his divine sense and caught the eye of a young girl in her teens with a braid of sheep horns. Her face resembled that of Wang Matzi, but she had bright eyes, white teeth, and a delicate face. Carrying a pot of wooden tea set, the spout of the teapot still emitted a hint of hot air, clearly freshly brewed. Come in. Lin Shiming spoke lightly. With the creaking sound of the door, the little girl lowered her head and brought the teapot to the table. Master Xian, this is the tea I made for you. Well, let's leave it here. Lin Shiming didn't mean to be so cold to the little girl, but he noticed that the window was facing the peach blossom, and the rolled-up bedding on the bed was also patterned. Combined with the decorations in the room, it was clearly the girl's boudoir. This Wang Matzi is not an honest person after all, no matter what the motive is, but Lin is a cultivator. Lin Shiming waved his hand and sent away the little girl who was still stuck in place. Just let out the golden-winged praying mantis, and after eating the spirit beast, the golden-winged praying mantis had a noticeably larger body shape, much better than eating spiritual water. It seems that in the future, we will occasionally prepare night snacks for this little praying mantis master. Zhi. The golden-winged mantis flew onto Lin Shiming's shoulder and rubbed his triangular head against him. Lin Shiming took out the meat of the spirit beast, but was refused by the latter by shaking his head. After taking out the spiritual water, I started drinking it with a squeaky sound. It seems that the golden-winged mantis is also a unique owner who must drink soup after eating meat. After feeding the golden-winged mantis full, Lin Shiming began practicing again, hoping to take advantage of the slightly faster training speed and reach the peak of the 5th level of qi cultivation as soon as possible. The next morning, the rain had already stopped, and Lin Shiming still didn't think of a good way to deal with the peach blossoms. However, at this point, the system prompt reappeared. Please check all the children, and you will select a second spirit root qualification for the family. Lin Shiming's heart stirred up a huge wave, thinking that Lingtao was a great harvest. I didn't expect the prompt the next day to be the genius of the second spirit root. You should know that although spiritual roots can be practiced in this world, there are also pros and cons to spiritual roots. The worst 5 spirit roots do not have the resources to go against the heavens. Basically, the middle stage of qi cultivation is their end point. The 4 spirit roots are slightly better, but they are also 80 steps against 100 steps, without great opportunities to build a foundation. The 3 spirit roots are considered ordinary, and they themselves are. Only the second spirit root belongs to the level of little genius. Basically, as long as there is a foundation building pill, it can reach the foundation building period steadily. The legendary heavenly spirit root is even more rebellious. As long as it does not die prematurely, a reliable purple mansion cultivator with a slightly greater chance can also achieve the golden elixir. Of course, qualifications cannot be said to be absolute. There are still people who use resources that are tens of times higher than ordinary people to cultivate to a higher level. There are currently over 80 cultivators in the Lin family, with a total of only 2 spiritual roots. One is Lin Shiming, the old clan leader of the Lin family, and the other is Lin Shiming's elder brother, the leader of the generation, Lin Shiji. Not to mention the old clan leader, let's just talk about his elder brother Lin Shiji. He is less than 25 years old and has already practiced 8 layers of qi. It is expected that he will practice 9 layers of qi before the age of 30, and after a few years of polishing, he will be able to prepare for building a foundation. In the Lin family, those who discover spiritual roots are rewarded, with one having 5 spiritual roots and 5 spiritual stones, one having 4 spiritual roots and 10 spiritual stones, and one having 3 spiritual roots and 50 spiritual stones. And a genius with 2 spiritual roots will be brought into the family and rewarded with 200 spiritual stones. If a genius with 2 spiritual roots is born, it will be rewarded with 500 spiritual stones, equivalent to Lin Shiming's 10-year salary. Of course, what Lin Shiming values the most is that 30 years later, the child will grow up to build a foundation and support the family. Lin Shiming does not believe in the concept of solitary chivalry. In his view, casual cultivation is just casual cultivation. Even if he obtains immense resources, he is only a nouveau riche who engages in casual cultivation. Without the reasonable operation of the family, it is difficult to go far enough on the path of cultivation. Just like you can expect a lone wolf who walks alone to be incredibly fierce, but you cannot expect a lone wolf who cannot fully settle for 3 meals to eventually become a strong wolf king. Even with such luck, there are only a few lucky and reckless men. So developing the family and then developing oneself from within the family is the direction set by Lin Shiming for himself. Lin Shiming did not delay, and the addition of 2 spiritual roots and a spiritual peach tree was enough to attract the family's attention. He directly swore to the Qingtao town hall. Calling Lin Yang, who was still asleep, he gave the latter an order to gather all the children around 10 years old and hold the Ascension Conference. After speaking, Lin Shiming kept flying towards Fangmu Mountain. It took a whole day to rush back to Fangmu Mountain and explain the situation of the peach tree to my father, Lin Hoyuan. As for Ling Zhen, if he hasn't mentioned it yet, it can't be explained. Lin Hoyuan was also very happy to learn about it. After praising Shiming well, he arranged for Lin Shiming to go find his 3rd sister, Lin Shiqi, who was known as the 2nd-level lower-grade Lingji Fu. When Lin Shiqi was found, the latter was taking care of Lingji in the medicinal garden on Fangmu Mountain. I saw her thrusting her waist, pouting her mouth, staring at a 2nd-order herb while studying. 3rd sister, I've found you. Lin Shiming explained the matter of Xinling Tao in its entirety. The latter waved his hand and opened his mouth. I already know the situation, Uncle San has already said it, but Lao Chi, you're really lucky. Lin Shiqi clearly felt a little emotional and envious. Under this spiritual peach tree, Lin Shiming needed at least an additional 100 spiritual stones, and she worked hard to take care of the herbs in the pharmacy. She only received a subsidy of 3 spiritual stones per month, which can be considered as a salary of only 5 spiritual stones per month. Of course, if she can break through to become a 2nd-level intermediate-level spiritual cultivator, then her treatment will be incomparable. So Lin Shiqi's short-term goal is to break through the 2nd-level intermediate-level spiritual cultivator, followed by breaking through the 5th level of qi cultivation. It's okay, 3rd sister. As long as you promise to teach me a month of spiritual plant transplantation techniques, I will definitely make you earn no less than 100 spiritual stones. Lin Shiming spoke confidently. When faced with the helplessness of the peach tree, Lin Shiming had the idea of learning spiritual cultivation and alchemy. He has a system prompt that can point out some incorrect techniques, and with the prompt, there are also opportunities for treasure hunting. Okay, that's not a problem. There are books on spiritual plants in the family, but with so many spiritual stones, shouldn't I help you fight and kill monsters? It's not about combat tactics, it's not about strength. I'll keep you satisfied. Lin Shiming promised repeatedly before Lin Shichi agreed. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Spirit Testing Plate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Spirit Testing Plate. After Lin Shiming and Lin Shichi finished handling all the spiritual medicine gardens, they rushed together to the contribution hall, which was the place where the Lin family issued the task. Lin Shiming received the task of Qingtao Mountain here, and now that Lin Shichi has left, he naturally needs to register the task here as well. After registering the task, Lin Shiming took Lin Shichi to the family's treasure trove. The treasure building, also known as the clan vault, is the most important place for the entire family, where all the treasures and martial arts of the family are stored. The surroundings are under strict martial law, with formations scattered all over. Everyone in the Lin family must always be careful not to accidentally enter the killing formation. Because of this place, Lin Shiming's system prompted him countless times, leaving him quite speechless. The first floor of the treasure building is the spiritual material, spiritual grass, and spiritual artifacts, while the second floor is the scripture pavilion. Of course, the precious ones are all on the third floor, and only the elders on the ninth floor can go up. It is said that Lin Xianji, the elder of the Lin family, is the third floor of the hidden cultivation and seclusion of the treasure house. Shiming, didn't you go to Qingtao Mountain? Why did you come back now? The son of Lin Yushui, the third elder, was guarding the treasure trove. He ranked second among the younger generation and was named Lin Haosho. Lin Haosho is an expert in practicing qi for 8 levels, and also inherits the array talent of the third elder Lin Yushui. He is already able to arrange a second-level intermediate-level array. However, due to being over 60 years old and experiencing a decline in qi and blood, with no hope of building a foundation, he took the initiative to go to the treasure trove to take charge of clan affairs while also studying the formations inside the treasure trove, hoping to become the second-level top-grade mage of the Lin family. Erbo, isn't this a small gain? Lin Shiming smiled slightly and took out the materials he had obtained from the demon monkey one by one. Good kid, your strength has grown so fast that even the second-level intermediate yellow-haired macaques can be killed. Lin Haosho checked the skin and claws of the macaques. This is thanks to the guidance of Uncle Air, Lin Shiming sincerely replied. Due to the system prompt, Lin Shiming learned low-level spells very quickly, so he often came to the Sutra Pavilion in the treasure house to study. He came and went, and was often taken care of and guided by Lin Haosho. Uncle Air, exchange these spiritual materials for spirit stones for me. Also, third sister and I want to borrow a spirit testing plate. Lin Shiming said. Testing the spirit plate, are you sure? It's not a once-in-5-year ascension conference. Borrowing the flower 50 spirit stones once, you demon monkey materials can't exchange for so many spirit stones. At most, there are only 20 spirit stones. The remaining 3 sisters come out. Lin Shiming had already used his spirit stone to buy spiritual talismans and water, so naturally there was none. Lin Shichi next to her was still thinking about Lingji, clearly not expecting Lin Shiming to come up with such a devilish idea. For a moment, her face blushed slightly. If she had known this, she wouldn't have come. She finally understood that when Lin Shiming said he wanted him to earn spiritual stones, it was actually through this method. This was just a verbal check without any bias, and there was also a need for advance payment. Pulling Lin Shiming's ear, she thought of saying something to the side, but Lin Shiming didn't move. Lin Shichi carefully glanced at Lin Haosho and then angrily said in Lin Shiming's ear. Lao Chi, what are you saying? I didn't agree. Also, were you tempted by other brothers? You can't earn much spirit stones even if you test the spirit root every 5 years. It's only 2 years now. Don't worry, third sister. When I went to Qingtao town this time, I felt an unusual seedling. Although I couldn't sense the specific spiritual roots, I promised to surprise you when the time comes. Lin Shiming patted his chest and said the prepared excuse. Immediately, fearing that Lin Shiqi still wouldn't agree, he spoke up again and agreed. Don't worry, third sister. Even if you fail, you will receive half of the ingredients from that new spiritual peach tree when the time comes. Lin Shiming spoke like this, which made Lin Shiqi feel better. On the other hand, Lin Haosho also took out the spirit testing plate, waiting for Lin Shiqi to hand over the spirit stone. As for not paying, isn't it just a way to entertain elders? Although Lin Shiqi was still unwilling and somewhat angry in her heart, she still paid 30 spirit stones and glared fiercely at Lin Shiming. After taking the spirit testing plate, Lin Shiming and his companions no longer delayed, wielding flying swords and flying towards Qingtao town. Along the way, Lin Shiqi clearly ignored Lin Shiming, but Lin Shiming kept saying good things. Lin Shiming had no choice but to force Lin Shiqi onto the ship this time. He did not test the spiritual plate during his qi cultivation, but also detected the second spiritual root, which is impossible to say. Besides, he just found the spiritual peach tree and kept an extraordinary spiritual insect. If it's too eye-catching, he can't explain it to the family. It's better to pull Lin Shiqi up and give her some spiritual stones, while also learning her spiritual cultivation technique. The goals of 2 people are always smaller than those of 1 person. When we arrived at Qingtao town, it was already the second day. As the mayor of the town, Lin Yang dressed extremely extravagantly and constantly commanded the crowd in the center of the town. The Ascension Conference is an opportunity to climb to the sky, so the scene is extremely noisy. In addition to those with children, there are also people watching the excitement. In the end, the vendors who set up stalls also took the opportunity to come over. The children around 10 years old brought with them, each with a different appearance and gorgeous attire, were obviously more bold and excited, and even had high fighting spirit. And those children in tattered linen clothes were all extremely timid and outshone each other. Master Immortal is here, everyone be quiet and line up. Lin Yang shouted towards the crowd, while quickly approaching Lin Shiming with utmost respect. Master Immortal, there were a total of 182 undetected children aged 9 to 13 who were present. Okay, let them come up one by one, you can arrange the order, but make sure everyone tests. Lin Shiming instructed and immediately began to work with Lin Shiqi to divide the work. Testing the spiritual root with a spirit plate is no less than releasing spells. If it is all done by 1 person, there can be up to 50 per day, and it is also easy to consume empty mana. By dividing tasks and taking turns to inspect with Lin Shiqi, it will be much faster and ensure sufficient spiritual power. Testing the spiritual root is also very simple. As long as the child places their hand on the spiritual testing plate, and then the cultivator guides them with spiritual energy, the special spiritual energy of the spiritual testing plate is introduced into the child's body, and those who can resonate are those who have spiritual roots. The stronger the resonance, the better the spiritual root. It is said that when the heavenly spiritual root resonates, it will directly produce anomalies. The first one to come up was a child brought by Lin Yang, who looked very similar to Lin Yang and was clearly one of the many children in Lin Yang. This child clearly has an inner restlessness, his chest heaving violently, and both hands are tightly pressed on the spirit measuring plate. Relax. Lin Shiming reminded and immediately injected spiritual energy into the spirit measuring plate. The spirit measuring plate is infused with spiritual energy, and the surface spiritual patterns light up one by one, eventually forming an extremely complex spiritual energy symbol. A more mysterious spiritual energy surged out of the spirit measuring plate, following the child's hand and entering his body. After a moment, the child's body surface emitted a tricolor glow, revealing an elemental aura of gold, wood, and earth. The most exciting thing about having spiritual roots is undoubtedly the old mayor of Linyang. As the mayor, he has naturally seen how having spiritual roots is displayed. Almost roared out, giving birth to more than 20 sons, and finally having one with spiritual roots. How to make him not excited? Finally, seeing that Lin Shiming remained calm and composed, he quickly apologized and forced himself to calm down. This luck. Lin Shichi beside her suddenly felt incredulous. At the usual once every 5 years ascension ceremony, there was a high probability that 500 to 600 children would not have a single 3-spirit root. However, this time, more than 100 people had a 3-spirit root. Lao Chi, that's the person you're talking about, Xinling. He has a good appearance and is indeed capable. Third sister, it's not this. Lin Shiming shook his head. To be honest, he himself was also surprised by this 3 spiritual roots. Which one is that? Lin Shichi looked at the others with confusion and couldn't help but chase after them. Wait and see. Lin Shiming hesitated, even though he wanted to satisfy Lin Shichi's curiosity. But who will satisfy his curiosity? He also wants to quickly find the second spiritual root. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Shizhong Shitao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Shizhong Shitao. The convening of the Ascension Conference has made Qingtao town, which has been quiet for a long time, quite lively. And the atmosphere reached its peak as the mayor's son detected his spiritual roots. Both parents and children seemed to have a bit more confidence on their faces. But only Lin Shiming on the field knew that most people here would return disappointed, and Ling Zhen was also known as Xianyuan. Xianyuan is not so easy to find. After learning from Lin Yang that his son with 3 spiritual roots was named Lin Zhong, Lin Shiming asked Lin Yang to prepare more and gather more. After going up the mountain, there will be a separation between immortals and mortals. Lin Zhong needs to be at least 20 years old to succeed and go down the mountain. As for before, it was not allowed to go down the wooden mountain below. As the 3 spiritual roots, Lin Zhong is naturally highly valued in Fangmu mountain. If nothing unexpected happens, he will be of the same generation as him and leave Lin Shizhong's name on the family tree. Next up. Next. As Lin Shiming kept shouting for a replacement, one disappointed and bewildered child after another left. On the scene, it also began to fall silent. 29 in a row, no new spiritual root owners have appeared. Lin Shichi also took the spirit testing plate from Lin Shiming. Old 7, take it lightly. The last once every 5 years Immortal Ascension Conference was not as strong as this. Lin Shiming nodded without saying much, but took out a spirit stone and slowly absorbed the spiritual energy. It wasn't until the 100th one that the second spiritual root finally appeared. That was a boy named Linen, only 5 spiritual roots, and he had a chance to become a cultivator. But it still caused a great sensation on the scene. The children who were tested next and the adults accompanying them also had another chance. From early morning to near dusk. More than 150 spiritual tests made Lin Shiming and Lin Shichi appear extremely tired. Lin Shiming is okay, there are still some expectations, but Lin Shichi has already started to cope. She doesn't think there are more than 30 people left who can produce a good spiritual root. Most children have already been tested, and a total of 1 3-spirit root and 2 5-spirit roots have appeared. Third sister, you go rest for a while, the rest is up to me. Lin Shiming also saw Lin Shichi's exhaustion and exhausted disappointment. Lin Shichi nodded and walked to the side, quietly restoring her mana. Lin Shiming suddenly felt a little surprised. In front of him, Wang Matzi poked his head and pulled a shy little girl. It's the little girl who brought him tea yesterday. The timid appearance is no different from yesterday. Master Immortal, the villain is Wang Matzi. This is the little girl, please Master Immortal. Wang Matzi kowtowed heavily with all his body. Lin Shiming ignored Wang Matzi and waved at the little girl instead. The little girl placed her hand on the spirit measuring plate, and Lin Shiming immediately controlled his spiritual energy to guide her. However, in the next moment, a burst of red and green light burst out from Yur's body, with bursts of rosy glow and extraordinary mystery. The dual attribute aura of fire and wood is fully exposed. Twin spirit root genius. Lin Shichi beside him was stunned. He had only seen such a glow on their elder brother Lin Shiji, and it was also that time. He knew that people are different. Some people are destined to venture on the path of cultivating immortality, taking a step that is enough to surpass the crowd, while others are destined to be companions. So she chose to be a spiritual cultivator and contribute to the family. Even if it turned into a withered bone 100 years later, every step taken by the Lin family had already left her footprints. She did not regret it. Born into the family, she made it her responsibility to revitalize the family. Lin Shiming was also somewhat surprised, and his face changed for a while. If he wanted to break his mind, that genius with 2 spiritual roots was actually this timid little girl. Those ordinary people are fine, only knowing that another spiritual root has appeared. In their eyes, the 2 spiritual roots and 5 spiritual roots all have spiritual roots. After all, no one's spiritual roots can have long legs, so they have no concept of good or bad, and can only shout along. Wang Matzi is the most excited one, always thanking this, thanking that, even thanking ancestors, thanking everyone, which is quite exaggerated. But at this moment, there won't be anyone mocking him, and it's even possible that he won't be called Wang Matzi in the future, but Ma Yi from Qingtao town. For every mortal who gives birth to a spiritual root, the Lin family will support him for a lifetime of prosperity, and then seek another official position. Like this time, if Lin Yang and Wang Matzi want it, Lin Shiming can let them go to Xinxian controlled by the Lin family to seek a small official position, and be more carefree. Yur, do you have a big name? Lin Shiming looked at the little girl carefully, who obviously didn't know what the spiritual root would bring to her specifically. I only know that I will live well in the future and her father will be more satisfied, that's all. No. The little girl shook her head. Your window facing the spiritual peach tree indicates that you like peach blossoms, so you should call it Wang Tao. However, when you enter Fangmu Mountain in the future, you will be called Lin Tao, full name Lin Shitao, and you can become the first female cultivator in the world. Lin Shiming didn't care if the little girl understood what it meant to be the first female cultivator in the world, so he gave her a concept first. Lin Tao. The little girl murmured, then muttered to herself a few times before nodding hard and opening her mouth with a smile. Master Immortal, I am willing to call, it sounds better than calling Yur. Well, don't call me Master Immortal in the future, call me Seventh Brother. Lin Shi continued to say a few words to Lin Tao, then called Lin Zhong and the remaining 2 5 spirit roots, and briefly described the life of Fangmu Mountain in the future. And give them 2 days to enjoy a brief reunion with their parents. As for the remaining dozen or so children who had not been tested, it aroused Lin Shichi's interest and she took the initiative to request testing. But the result is none. After sending everyone away, Lin Shiming flew with Lin Shichi to Qingtao Mountain. It's already late, and the 2 of them have also consumed a lot of mana, so naturally it's the cultivation and recovery within the formation of the Qingtao Mountain. However, along the way, Lin Shichi had many problems, and in front of ordinary people, she still had something to maintain. Until now, he has been constantly asking Lin Shiming questions, and Lin Shiming is naturally a big evasive person. However, the woman's curiosity was clearly beyond Lin Shiming's imagination, and in the end, a golden sentence burst out. Do you like the little girl who held a special promotion ceremony for her? In an instant, Lin Shiming's chin was startled. She could really think of and say such a shocking guess. Lin Shiming could only explain continuously, but it was okay if he didn't explain. The more he explained, the more Lin Shichi insisted. Finally, he made a firm promise to help Lin Shiming keep the secret. Lin Shiming could only secretly regret it. If he had known, he would have tested 50 each person and let Lin Shichi exhaust all her mana, leaving no time for it. As expected, that sentence is good. People cannot eat too much. And for cultivators, their magical power cannot be too abundant. Seeking recommendation and following up on reading, this is very important for new books. Dear readers, of course, it would be better to give rewards. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Reproduction of the Monster Monkey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Reproduction of the Monster Monkey. The morning sun rises, the spring breeze is warm, and the peach blossoms on Qingtao Mountain bloom even more. Lin Shiming woke up from his cultivation and felt a great boost in his spirit, exhausted. Aoki's continuous and indecisive mana has an advantage in adjusting and nourishing oneself. Under the premise of being energetic, Lin Shiming also practiced the spells he had mastered over the years in his daily life, such as wooden rattan, wooden spear, and wooden shield. Of course, Lin Shiming also knows fireball and golden sword techniques, but since he is practicing wood attribute techniques, the power of these spells is significantly smaller. Therefore, Lin Shiming is more willing to prepare more fire and gold-based spiritual talismans. After completing the spell cultivation, the golden-winged mantis was released and fed with a large piece of monkey meat and 2 bowls of spiritual water. Oh, Lao Chi, you're a bit unusual as a spirit insect, and you look really nice. Lin Shichi also walked out of the room and stared at the golden-winged mantis, constantly observing. As far as she knows, most praying mantises are blue, and even if they have gold, they are only a shallow layer. When Lin Shiming bought this insect egg, many people in the Lin family knew about it, but they thought it was a green-winged praying mantis. They even advised Lin Shiming at that time. It's true that some of them can be eaten, and they are almost eating me poor. Lin Shiming also smiled slightly and said roast. Since you can eat it, why don't you sell it to me? Third sister guarantees to give you a suitable price. Lin Shichi turned around and looked at the golden-winged mantis from inside out, showing her love in her eyes. If it weren't for the golden-winged mantis waving its golden sickle feet and squeaking angrily, Lin Shichi would probably have touched it directly. Cough. Lin Shiming couldn't help but cough a few times. He really wanted to say, "Third sister, you can't afford it." After thinking about it, he decided to shift the topic. "Third sister, let's transplant the spiritual peach tree back as soon as possible, so that it can absorb more spiritual energy and produce more spiritual peaches." "Okay. If you change your mind in the future, you can always come to me." Lin Shichi replied with reluctance. The distance from Qingtao Mountain to Dainia's house is not far. The two of them wielded flying swords and after half an hour, they arrived at their destination. The spiritual peach tree is still the same as the previous 2 days, with pink flower buds dotted on its branches, not a single flower blooming or withering. It's really a waste of time. With the lack of spiritual energy here, blooming this flower and bearing 1 fruit is probably the limit, and at most, it can only bear more than 20 spiritual peaches. Lin Shichi walked to the peach tree and said with great joy. At this moment, she is undoubtedly confident, and as a rare spiritual cultivator in her family, this is her pride. As the words fell, I saw her practicing the technique of pinching and guiding. With a slight flick of her proficient palm, her would attribute spiritual energy suddenly rose, and a brilliant green light poured into the peach tree. Lao Chi, for us would attribute cultivators, inputting some pure would attribute spiritual energy before transplanting is beneficial for reducing the spiritual damage caused by transplanting. We must not learn some scattered cultivation, relying on some force and brute force to pull out. There are countless spiritual plants in this world that have been harmed by those scattered cultivation. Lin Shichi said with a regretful expression. Lin Shiming also deeply agrees that there are often spiritual medicines with a sharp decline in value in the local market, and drug sellers have always believed that merchants are suppressing prices and exploiting scattered cultivation. Little did he know that his own spiritual medicine had been irreversibly damaged by himself. After the spiritual energy was input, whether it was an illusion or something, Lin Shiming always felt the peach blossoms on the spiritual peach tree trembling slightly, as if they were about to bloom in the next moment. After the spiritual energy is input, the next step is to keep the roots and stems undamaged. Lin Shichi's jade hand turned and took out a small jade bottle from the storage ring. Lin Shiming is not unfamiliar with the spiritual liquid in the small jade bottle. It is the same kind of spiritual liquid that has a similar effect with the same spiritual formation. The former promotes the breeding of spiritual beasts, while the latter promotes the growth of spiritual plants. After removing the plug, Lin Shichi irrigated a 4.5 meter circle of spiritual liquid with spiritual liquid at the root of the peach tree. Although the jade bottle in Lin Shichi's hand is small, it is also an inferior magical tool that can hold dozens of pounds of liquid. Alright, Lao Chi, next, dig it out and seal it in a jade box. Lin Shichi didn't forget her previous promise to teach Lin Shiming, so she explained it word by word to Lin Shiming and demonstrated and explained it one by one. And at that moment, Lin Shiming suddenly saw another line of prompts in front of him. Please follow the footsteps of the spirit monkey, you will find the tribe of spirit monkeys. Lin Shiming was somewhat surprised, and the system prompt left him puzzled. So much so that he became distracted and was instantly despised by Lin Shichi. Old 7. If you have this learning attitude, there is no need to learn spiritual cultivation techniques. Although spiritual cultivation is not a profound knowledge, it emphasizes one detail, one seriousness, and one meticulousness. Of course, if you give me that little mantis, I can ignore your bad habit. Lin Shiming gave the latter a white eye directly. Then he ignored Lin Shichi as much as possible, and his divine consciousness spread out towards the dense forest covering the hill. As a Qi practitioner with 5 levels of cultivation, Lin Shiming's divine sense can be extended to a diameter of 100 meters. Of course, if concentrated in one direction, it can reach about 200 meters, but it will accelerate the consumption of divine sense several times. Normally, Lin Shiming would not do this, but the system prompt made Lin Shiming understand that there is a yellow-haired demon monkey nearby, probably from the same tribe as the previous demon monkey. And the system's prompt reward also made Lin Shiming strange. The divine consciousness has been released to over 200 meters and has already covered the depths of the jungle on the hills. On a thick and towering pine tree, Lin Shiming once again spotted a demon monkey. Still familiar with Guyu lying down, still familiar with eating unknown fruits, scratching his head and bark with his paws, his emerald green eyes dribbling and turning towards Lin Shiming. To be precise, it's staring at the spiritual peach tree behind Lin Shiming. Is this the yellow-haired demon monkey you killed last time? Lin Shichi also reacted and his divine sense followed suit. Although it was extremely difficult for her to practice the 4 layers of qi, and sweat droplets as big as beans appeared on her forehead, she still found the demon monkey. Third sister, first bring the spirit tree back to Qingtao Mountain. Lin Shiming suggested. What about you? Lin Shichi immediately asked back. Before Lin Shiming could answer, he spoke again, you haven't really fought before, let's go together. The spirit tree is important, and I also have the spirit talisman given by my grandfather. Lin Shiming shook his head. He originally intended to follow, but not to hunt alone. Moreover, the yellow-haired demon monkey can be described as a fish in water in the jungle, and Lin Shiming may not have been able to resist it. Okay, remember to be careful, Lin Shichi added, then withdrew her divine consciousness and began transplanting the peach tree. I saw her release a snow-white mid-level magic weapon longsword. Although both this long sword and Lin Shiming's sword are mid-level magic weapons, their power and sword light are much weaker than Lin Shiming's. As Lin Shichi silently recited the pinching technique, the snow-white long sword transformed into a giant sword and fiercely chopped down, directly following the circle drawn by the previous Xinling liquid, even cutting out the entire tree with roots and soil. As the jade box in hand opened, the spiritual peach tree transformed into a glow and fell into the box. Roar! Just as Lin Shichi put away the peach tree, the distant demon monkey became noticeably anxious. He jumped off the pine tree with a strange cry and rushed towards Lin Shiming and others, holding onto a thick and hard branch that was broken off everywhere. The demon monkey was extremely fast and quickly approached Lin Shiming. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Infiltrating the Monkey Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Infiltrating the Monkey Forest. Step back. Lin Shiming had already witnessed the strange speed of the yellow-haired monkey and couldn't help but remind Lin Shichi. In his hand, he also kept practicing a pinching technique, and the green spirit sword in the storage bag flew out in an instant, transforming into a huge sword of 3 or 4 meters, and slashed towards the yellow-haired demon monkey. Then, with a big wave of his hand, he scattered a large amount of woody vine seeds. In addition, several fireball talismans were also held in Lin Shiming's hand. In contrast, Lin Shichi appeared much more anxious. In a hurry, she only offered her snow-white spiritual sword. This demon monkey is obviously slightly stronger than Lin Shiming who killed that one. With a sudden jump, the hardwood stick in his hand swung fiercely, smashing both spirit swords into the air. Continuing without stopping, continue to smash. Wooden vine technique. Rise. Lin Shiming had already finished reciting the spell, and countless wooden vines emerged from the ground. Transforming into a spirit snake, it enveloped the demon monkey with overwhelming force. These wooden vines are different from swords, they can't be easily thrown away by a demon monkey. On the contrary, the entire thick wooden stick was entangled by the wooden vine, and the angry demon monkey howled ferociously. Release the attack talisman. Lin Shiming spoke up to remind Lin Shichi. The second-level intermediate fireball talisman in his hand was also fiercely thrown towards the demon monkey. Lin Shiming's fireball hit the demon monkey who didn't dodge in time, and the demon monkey was completely black from the explosion, igniting flames. Lin Shichi also realized that a wind blade talisman flew out, and countless wind blades turned into sharp blades and broke through the air. Roar. After the demon monkey roared, its green eyes were finally filled with fear. After flipping and jumping, it ran towards the back. Chase. Lin Shichi became somewhat excited from fear. As a cultivator of the 4th level of Qi cultivation, this was her first time dealing with a monster, and she didn't want to let go of the demon monkey. I'll go chase after her, you go protect Lin Shitao and bring her and the Lingtao tree back to Qingtao Mountain. Lin Shiming directly stopped Lin Shichi. However, after seeing that Lin Shichi was not satisfied, he added again. Third sister, it's very likely that there are also demon monkeys. Protecting the forest peach and spirit peach trees is more important. The firmness in Lin Shiming's words also calmed Lin Shichi down. Indeed, Lin Tao's home is not far away, and she also has a peach tree on her body. Protecting these is truly the most important thing. Seeing that Lin Shichi understood, Lin Shiming did not hesitate and followed the demon monkey. This time, Lin Shiming did not wield his sword, but instead released the basic spell of lightness and followed the demon monkey far behind. At the beginning, the demon monkey was extremely agile in the forest, able to dart far in the blink of an eye, but after a while, it became slower and slower. The fireball just now hit the demon monkey completely, indicating that the injury had occurred. The blood left along the way became Lin Shiming's best tracking weapon. Lin Shiming did not chase too closely. Ordinary herds of animals have the concept of a group, let alone a group of demon monkeys. Of course, when tracking, Lin Shiming was far from as calm as he appeared on the surface. Although the system prompted, this time it is undoubtedly extremely dangerous, and further forward, it may even enter the outskirts of the Qingyun Mountains. So in his hand, he couldn't help but pinch the 2 second-level top-grade spiritual talismans brought out from his family. He only has 5 levels of Qi cultivation, and he will be defeated by any monster in the later stage of Qi cultivation. So, Lin Shiming could only hope that there would be no major demon monkeys in the later stage, while also being prepared for the worst. After tracking for half a day, Lin Shiming arrived at a valley. Inside the valley mouth, there are rows of green peach trees. Among the green peach trees, Lin Shiming was pleasantly surprised to find that there was actually a spiritual peach tree inside. Moreover, the spiritual peaches here surprisingly bear green and astringent fruits. There is a spiritual pulse here. Lin Shiming thought of a possibility and his heart couldn't help but jump. In this world of cultivating immortality, if you want to embark on the true path of cultivation, it is important to have a wealth couple's dharma land. Wealth talks about property, spiritual stones, and various treasures. Couples value the Taoist couple, their loved ones, and even their families and clans. The law is a cultivation method, a secret spiritual formula. Earth is the most unique and crucial aspect among them. That is the land of spiritual veins. Why do cultivators stay away from mortals and establish ethnic and regional sects in some high mountains and valleys? It is also because of the existence and quality of spiritual veins. On Fangmu Mountain, the Lin family is here to establish and revitalize their clan, precisely because there is a third-level intermediate spiritual vein on Fangmu Mountain, which can provide sufficient supply for cultivators to practice. Even supporting 3 foundation-building cultivators is not a big problem. However, the Qingtao Mountain where Lin Shiming is currently located is only a place of lower-level spiritual vessels, and can only provide 1 or 2 cultivators to practice together. Once the spiritual energy is insufficient, one must constantly absorb spiritual stones for cultivation, which will consume a lot. That's also why when Lin Hoyuan and Lin Yuqing saw Lin Shiming's talent, they were unwilling to let him come to guard. The quality of the spiritual pulse also determines the duration of the cycle of the spiritual object. If there is sufficient spiritual energy, even a century-old spiritual medicine can achieve the same therapeutic effect within a few decades. The spiritual peach in front of me has matured, clearly earlier than the spiritual veins on Qingtao Mountain. Lin Shiming suppressed his excitement, carefully absorbed the spiritual energy around him, and after running for half an hour in his body, he finally confirmed that there was indeed a spiritual pulse here, at least a second-level intermediate spiritual pulse. The existence of a spiritual pulse also represents the output of spiritual objects and plants, and this harvest is enough to bring huge benefits to the entire Lin family. Lin Shiming gritted his teeth and forced himself to calm down. The prompt given by the system is really valuable, but at the same time, Lin Shiming is also in an extremely dangerous situation. Make him dare not slack off at all. Lin Shiming also hid in the tree, afraid to walk around freely, but used his divine sense to surround a large area. Of course, Lin Shiming is also very cautious when using divine sense. Some powerful monster beasts can sense divine sense. Although second-level monster beasts can sense very little, Lin Shiming still dare not gamble. As the divine sense spread 1 meter by 1, Lin Shiming's inner excitement grew stronger and stronger. Spiritual peach trees, many spiritual peach trees. Lin Shiming became a bit numb, and even in the end, he discovered a second-level intermediate spiritual peach tree. You should know that the second-level intermediate spiritual peach can be used to improve cultivation and also as a spiritual material for some precious elixirs. One requires 20 to 30 spiritual stones. Far superior to ordinary second-level lower-grade spiritual peaches. Of course, there was also a lot of cold water poured on Lin Shiming's head. Lin Shiming discovered that there is a yellow-haired demon monkey on almost every peach tree. And on the second-level medium-grade massive spiritual peach tree, there is a red-haired demon monkey with a larger body and more powerful spirit. When Lin Shiming's consciousness covered him, his heart was almost suppressed. That is definitely a second-order peak demon monkey, and that spiritual power has only been seen by Lin Shiming and his great-grandfather, the elder of the Lin family, Lin Hoqing. Lin Shiming has already begun to consider retreating, with no intention of picking peaches. Although Lingtao is good, it still requires life to enjoy. Lin Shiming has no doubt about the frenzy of these demon monkeys. As long as they discover it, they will inevitably be torn apart. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Monkey Wine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Monkey Wine. At this moment, Peach Blossom Valley appeared unusually quiet, with occasional jumping and playful demon monkeys jumping towards the periphery. It will cause great psychological pressure on Lin Shiming. Fortunately, these group of demon monkeys clearly lacked the ability to sense divine consciousness, and Lin Shiming was not discovered for a long time. But looking around, Lin Shiming always felt a bit eerie. The second-order peak red-haired monkey lay there, feeling a bit wobbly. It's like getting drunk. Unfortunately, it is full of spiritual power and a fierce aura that soars to the sky. Oh, that bamboo tube. Lin Shiming suddenly noticed a detail, and the red-haired demon monkey was actually holding a bamboo tube in its mouth. Shake your head, shake your brain, enjoy. Isn't this clearly his 13th uncle? Are these monkeys drinking? In an instant, Lin Shiming's heart was shaken. The monkey drinking, how dare you think? No wonder the sensitivity to divine consciousness is much weaker. His divine sense was unleashed in front of these demon monkeys, but it was never discovered. Lin Shiming continued to expand his spiritual consciousness and observe the other demon monkeys one by one. Finally, he found that there was also a bamboo tube on the branches of the other demon monkeys, but it was obviously much smaller than the bamboo tube of the red-haired demon monkey. In addition, Lin Shiming also found hollowed-out tree holes at the intersections of those spiritual peach trees. There are more hollowed-out areas for the large spiritual peach tree, especially for the second-level intermediate spiritual peach tree, which is no less than 7. Monkey wine. Lin Shiming remembered a word in his mind and couldn't shake it off anymore. These demon monkeys are actually brewed monkey wine, and the raw materials used for brewing are probably those spirit peaches. These group of demon monkeys are powerful, agile and ghostly, with great courage to lift mountains. It is estimated that the monkey wine also has a miraculous effect. If the family masters the manufacturing method of this spirit wine, not only will the strength of the family cultivators be greatly improved, but selling these spirit wines alone can also bring significant gains to the Lin family. Especially 3 years later, Qingxian's sect will soon be selling the building foundation pill. This opportunity has been seized, and the Lin family will definitely be able to take it to the next level. His father will also be thoroughly selected as the foundation builder for the family. When Lin Shiming thought about it, he wished he could instantly return to Fangmu Mountain and lead his people to level this Peach Blossom Valley. After the exploration was completed, Lin Shiming also felt a desire to retreat. However, before that, his divine consciousness once again swept into an empty tree hole, and the demon monkey inside was clearly not there. Stealing alcohol. Lin Shiming suddenly had a thought in his heart, which began to linger. But the next moment, I couldn't help but be startled by my boldness. Stealing wine from so many monkey herds is undoubtedly stealing chestnuts from the fire. However, Lin Shiming does not believe that there is no chance. His biggest trump card is that he has 2 second-level top-grade spiritual talismans, one for attack and one for defense. Most importantly, he can fly with swords. Although these demon monkeys are exceptionally fierce, facing Lin Shiming flying in the air, having a body full of brute force is not enough. Moreover, he doesn't need to fight, and these demon monkeys don't have much sensitivity to the outside world. The most important thing is to confirm the spirit wine, and he can also persuade the family elders to mobilize more cultivators. Try using invisibility symbols. Lin Shiming finally made up his mind to give it a try. Lin Shiming took out a white spiritual talisman from the storage ring, which was also his only special talisman, the invisibility talisman. This kind of invisibility talisman is actually quite disappointing for cultivators. After all, invisibility talismans only fade away the body shape, and for cultivators with divine consciousness, they can see through it at a glance. And the biggest flaw is that it cannot emit mana and cannot engage in manual combat. Only in such special circumstances can miraculous effects be achieved. With a stroke of the talisman, Lin Shiming's figure faded from the void. Then he walked out of a green peach tree that covered his body, and began to follow the path of rare spiritual peaches and demon monkeys, circling around to the location of the empty tree hole and disappearing. Quickly climbed up the empty tree hole. The aroma of Lingjiu is extremely strong, and it is significantly better to drink than the Xinling liquor of the Lin family, with more abundant spiritual energy. Lin Shiming scooped out a little with his hand and took a sip. A surge of abundant spiritual energy surged out, and he felt that the wine was still healing some of his dark wounds. Lin Shiming's ecstasy was even greater in his heart. This spirit wine not only has the effect of increasing spiritual power, but also can heal injuries. Perhaps this is also the reason why these demon monkeys can occupy this peach blossom valley. A group of fearless demon monkeys, one can imagine how terrifying they are. If the Lin family owned this wine, the losses of the Lin family's demon hunting team would probably be reduced by half. Stop. Lin Shiming didn't hesitate and took out a magic tool spirit bottle containing spiritual water. Heading towards the tree hole, unleashing the mana crazily. At this moment, time is not money, time is destiny. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. Lin Shiming couldn't take it anymore, so he put away the jade bottle. Although there are many actions in this series, in fact, it's less than 5 breaths. After taking the spirit wine, Lin Shiming did not hesitate and flew directly into the air with the green spirit sword. Behind him, countless demon monkeys began to roar, but Lin Shiming had already flown into the sky. Disappearing in the sky, end of this chapter. Chapter 10. Return to Fangmu Mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Return to Fangmu Mountain. On Fangmu Mountain, there is a treasure trove. The treasure trove in leisure time appears very desolate, only with the spring breeze blowing and leaving without a trace. Lin Househo put down a formation jade slip and a smile appeared on his face. Just now, the formation confusion that had puzzled him for over a decade had been solved by him and recorded in the jade slips. He felt that it wouldn't take him many days to truly set up a second-level top-notch formation, becoming the second master of the Lin family's second-level top-notch formation. The pride that had faded away for an unknown amount of time reappeared in my heart. He, Lin Househo, is still a genius in the Lin family's formation. In the next moment, Lin Househo felt his eyes twitching and he saw someone he shouldn't have seen. Air bow. Lin Shiming's air bow sound pulled Lin Househo back to reality. The person who came was Lin Shiming, who hurriedly arrived from Shitao Mountain. It was already the 3rd day since they left Peach Blossom Valley. Returning to Shitao Mountain, Lin Shiming asked Lin Shiqi to guard it, and then hurriedly led Lin Tao, Lin Zhong, and others back to Fangmu Mountain. Lin Househo is quite unhappy with Lin Shiming at this moment. He has been on duty for less than a month and has returned 3 times. How can this mentality be a true duty guard, and how can it take on the responsibility of revitalizing the family in the future? Air bow, I'm here to return the spirit testing plate. Lin Shiming took out the spirit testing plate and looked at Lin Househo, who suddenly became serious. He didn't understand why the latter's face changed so much. Oh, how about it? I know it's not easy to earn spirit stones, right? Lin Househo put away the spirit plate, and there are 8 members on duty in the family, more or less of whom will come to borrow the spirit plate for testing and gambling. A cultivator with good qualifications can be rewarded with a double harvest of good reputation, and even receive a favorable impression from future powerhouses. Obviously, in his opinion, Lin Shiming is also the same. That's why he said that. In his view, life is a journey of adversity, and cultivation is a matter of competing with heaven. It would be better to encounter some setbacks, so he did not stop Lin Shiming from borrowing the spiritual plate before. But before Lin Househo could see Lin Shiming's dejected expression of being taught. Behind Lin Shiming, a few people hurriedly walked over. Master, Elder, Second Elder, Fourth Elder, Sixth Elder. Lin Househo had no idea what had happened. At this moment, almost all the elders arrived, except for the third and fifth elders. The third elder is also the mother of Lin Househo. Lin Yushui is the only second-level post-formation mage who sits in the market of Lin Jiaxing County. Wu Changlao Lin Yuzheng is the leader of the family's caravan, who leads the caravan to conduct business all year round and brings profits to the family. Even if Lin Shiji was tested for his double spiritual roots back then, the family's vibration was just like that. Shiming, are you serious about your message? Second elder Lin Yuchi was a thin and middle-aged man, with a gentle and deep gaze due to years of alchemy. He spoke earnestly. The other elders also looked at Lin Shiming with dry tongues. That news is too important for the Lin family, which is currently in a precarious situation. Take it seriously. They are in the reception building where guests are waiting. They have flown in all day and are already exhausted. Shiming dares to let them rest. Lin Shiming replied humbly and politely. He was not surprised by the expressions on the faces of his elders. When he learned about the second spirit root, Lin Shiming had this expression on his face. Moreover, these elders who aspire to become successful and dedicate half of their lives to the family with dedication and dedication. At this moment, Lin Househo is the most agonizing. Everyone else is an understanding person, he is the only one who is confused. If at ordinary times, he would just hold his fist and ask Lin Shiming to explain the cause and effect, there's no need to be so eager. But now, apart from Elder Lu and the head of the family, Lin Hoyuan, who are all his elders, he dares not make any mistakes. As the head of the family, Lin Hoyuan noticed Lin Hosho's embarrassment and spoke up. Second brother, Shiming discovered the genius of the second spirit root. You sent the spirit testing plate, and you also have credit for it. What? Lin Ho's head hummed for a long time before realizing it, and then burst into laughter. If there is a genius with two spiritual roots, then there is every reason to explain why all the elders of the Lin family are mobilized. Even the senior patriarch of the family may be alarmed. The generation of the Lin family was left by Lin Jingxing, the elder of the Lin family. It is divided into three categories. Righteousness and brightness, success before later, the extension of the world, and the prosperity of the Qi family. At present, there is only Lin Xianji left in the first generation, while there are still many left in the Yu generation. The backbone of the family is the younger generation, while the younger generation is the hope for the future of the Lin family and is also a rapidly growing generation. Shiming, you did a good job. God bless the Lin family. Lin Househo couldn't help but blush at his previous idea, but thought that the family had a new second spiritual root, so he forgot about it. Everyone is fine now, why don't we go to the reception building to meet a few younger generations? While the elders were happy, the second elder also suggested again. For the fire with double spirit root genius, it is very suitable for alchemy and weapon refining. If we can cultivate a third-level alchemist or third-level weapon refining master for the family, even if he turns into a handful of yellow earth in decades, he will die without regret. The proposal of the second elder has been approved by everyone. After all, they didn't see the real person, and everyone felt somewhat anxious about gains and losses. Previously, it was not uncommon to mistake the oolong spirit root. Father, Grandpa, besides the matter of Shitao, Shiming has more important things to report. Oh, then you say it. Everyone was also a bit surprised. Lin Shiming had something more important to say. When they received the transmission talisman, they only knew that the family had newly tested the second spiritual root genius. Perhaps we need to inform the old clan leader. Lin Shiming hesitated for a moment and slowly approached Peach Blossom Valley. When it comes to the red-haired demon monkey, his expression is even more serious. After all, He is a second-order top-quality demon monkey, and because his fur is different from ordinary yellow fur. In his opinion, it is highly likely that there has been a mutation similar to his golden-winged praying mantis. Never underestimate. The elders remained silent and hesitated for a moment, clearly indicating that the old clan leader had a hidden message. After pondering for a while, Lin Shiming realized that it might be related to rumors, so he no longer persisted. Take out the spirit bottle that put away the monkey wine that day. Please let second grandpa taste it. Second elder Lin Yuchi didn't hesitate, took the spirit bottle, poured out a small drop of spirit wine, controlled the object through the air, and flew it into his mouth. Lin Yuchi closed his eyes slightly and felt the efficacy of the spirit wine carefully. After 2 or 3 breaths, his eyes suddenly opened, and for an instant, they seemed to burst with excitement. He spoke up. This is a second-level intermediate spirit wine, which has the effect of improving martial arts skills. No, there's also a healing effect, no worse than a mid-range healing pill. End of this chapter.